Hi guys, Mike here. Hope you're doing well. So, me and the boys went to go and see Supergirl yesterday, and yeah, I've got some thoughts. So, this is the second movie in James Gunn's newly rebooted DCU. We had Superman last year, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and now we have Supergirl. She was teased at the end of Superman. She comes in like right at the end, it's like a brief cameo, and then you assume, oh, so the next movie is going to be about her. And yeah, I'm just going to get right to the point, guys. I did not enjoy this movie at all. And the guys were sort of a bit lukewarm on it as well, but I was just like, when you watch a film and you get frustrated with a film that you just sit there and go, this film is just a fucking mess. And that's pretty much what I'm going to try. It was mediocre, it was messy. Sorry, I'm kind of spoiling my rating kind of out the gate. But yeah, I don't know how long this review is going to be, to be honest. But I've written down some notes, and let's get into it. So we have the plot. The plot of Supergirl is basically you follow her. She's nothing like Superman. She's drunk. She's kind of a burnout. She doesn't care about saving humanity. She just wants to go out and have a good time and go on different planets and get totally wasted. And she's got Crypto with her. But then this guy, who I believe his name is Krem, who's like your main bad guy, poisons Crypto and takes Crypto hostage, and he's the only one with the antidote, so that encourages her to go after him to save Crypto. And also, you've got this other girl whose name for the life of me I cannot remember, but she also has a vendetta against Krem because he murdered her family when she was younger. And she wants to just kill him. So now you have these two mismatched characters off on a quest to kill Krem and save Crypto. Yeah, so that's the plot. Let's get into the positives. What did I like about this film? I mean, it looks nice. I mean, I like all the outer space shots. The CGI is pretty good. It's a nice looking film. Yeah, when I start talking about it looks nice. That there isn't much else that I can say. I liked Jason Momoa as Lobo. I thought he was good. Again, he was like the one that when they announced Jason Momoa was going to be in the DCU, like this was way back when, before he was Aquaman, everyone went, Lobo, it's got to be Lobo. Well, now he is Lobo. And I've got to be honest, I spent most of the film wishing it was his movie. He's not actually in it that much. The marketing makes it look like he's in it quite a lot. He's not. I'd say he's got a screen time of maybe 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less. But yeah, he was good. I liked him. That's pretty much all my positives. Sorry. Mixed. What's in the mixed? Millie Alcock as Supergirl. I don't blame her. This is why it's in the mix. I don't blame her. I thought her casting wasn't the problem. The writing was the problem. You've just got... How do I explain this? When you've got a superhero, or a character in general, who is not really that likable at first. I mean, she's a bit of a drunk burnout. There's nothing that really endears you to her. And I'll get onto something like this in my negatives, and this is kind of why you're not endeared to her. But you've just got a character who's just kind of bumbling around, she's out of her face the whole time. The only reason you're kind of on her side is because you want her to save Crypto, but you're not really... You want her to save Crypto because you like Crypto. You don't want her to save Crypto because you care about their relationship, because they don't really establish their relationship in this movie. You get like flashbacks to her time on Krypton, which I will get into in the negatives, but it's just kind of, I don't know, I just feel like you didn't really care about her character. You wanted her to succeed for the sake of Crypto. It wasn't like this thing of like, no, I want her to succeed because I really care about their relationship. You don't really, unfortunately. Well, at least I didn't, but hey, that's just me. Okay, the negatives. Yeah, I told you this wasn't going to be a very long review. This movie, the biggest negative I can say is that this movie is just, it's, at best, it's fine. It's so mediocre. I mean, we are at a point now where superhero movies Yeah, they're inundated. We're inundated with superhero movies. They're all over the place. We're constantly getting them banged out, like literally, it feels like every single month at this point. But the problem is, we're not bored of superhero movies. We're bored of dull superhero movies. I think it was James Gunn actually who said in a podcast, who said there isn't any superhero fatigue. There's mediocre superhero fatigue, and he was spot on about that. But then this was the guy who gave us Supergirl. I mean, to be fair, he didn't direct Supergirl. I think this was directed by, I can't remember, Craig Giuseppe, I think that's his name. And James Gunn was just a producer. So I kind of felt like it's not completely on James Gunn's shoulders, but still, you let this pass. You know, you're meant to be like the driver of the new DCU, and you put this out here? Come on. Here's the thing. I feel like, going on with the mediocre theme, there's something very unoriginal about this film for the fact that it just borrows way too much. You can tell that this is basically trying so hard to be like Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's failing miserably, even to the points where you even have like a track, like a music song, sorry, I can't speak today, a song will kick in, and whereas in Guardians of the Galaxy, when a song kicked in, it was cool. It fit the scene. Whenever a song kicked in this movie, you went, that feels a bit out of place. There's like one song with Lobo towards the end where I kind of went, okay, this fits. But everything else was just like, it almost felt like, you know what it feels like? It was like that DJ at a wedding who's just spinning all these tracks and then just, with no cohesion whatsoever, just splurges one track into another and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That's what it felt like with this movie. Like every music choice was just, what are you going on to this? It doesn't make any sense. What else? It also felt like, especially at the beginning, it felt like a bit like Hancock, the Will Smith superhero movie, where, again, he's a drunk burnout, but at least he still tries to do superhero things. He's kind of rolling his eyes going, oh, for fuck's sake. But he still does it. And you kind of care more about his character. Whereas with this one, you didn't really care about Supergirl as much. Again, you wanted her to succeed for the sake of Krypto. What else? The villain, Krem, who I mentioned, he's boring. He's like, this is like almost Thor the Dark World level of boring villain. Remember that guy from Thor the Dark World who everyone, if you were to rank like boring comic book villains, like he'd be right there. He'd be like right at the bottom of that list of just, yeah, this guy is just fucking dull. You don't remember anything about him. He's just there to be a villain. He's there to kill the girl's parents and poison Krypto. I mean, you don't like him. That's fine. You're not supposed to like him. He's the villain. But there's just nothing that made him stand out. He was just a generic bad guy. That's what he was. And also, the girl who Supergirl teams up with, the one who wants to avenge her family, she doesn't do anything throughout the whole film. She's literally just there with her family sword of, I'm going to kill Krem. And there was a point where I literally sat there and, Supergirl's starting all these fights in bars and fighting off all these goons. And she's just kind of there. And it got to a point where I went, has this girl actually done anything? She's just kind of there. I mean, they could argue, that it was meant to show how out of her depth she was. The fact that she didn't do anything, or she didn't really fight. But, if you're not going to have her do that, at least make her funny or quippy or entertaining, But they don't do any of that. She's just fucking there. And you just feel like you're just here for the sake of, I don't even know. I can't even justify why you're here. I don't know. And that's another thing. The story structure was all over the place. So you start off with Supergirl, just going from planet to planet, drinking herself silly, and she's with Krypto, and for some reason, halfway through, then you get her backstory of her being on Krypton and how her dad actually shielded everyone from the destruction, or shielded who he could from the destruction, including her family. And you see her kind of, deal with the death of her mum and having to abandon her people to go and live on Earth with, Superman. But the problem is, one, because you've done this in the middle of the film and not built up to it, I don't really feel like her plight or her emotional baggage is that earned, because you've done all of this showing her being reckless and irresponsible first, and then suddenly gone back to, oh, but this is why she's the way she is. And even when they do show her backstory on Krypton, it feels so rushed. It does feel so rushed that they just went, oh yeah, by the way, this is why she is the way she is, because she lost her people. And because she had to deal with it, whereas, Superman was sent to Earth when he was a baby. So that's what they're trying to hammer home, the fact that Superman was sent to Earth when he was a baby, so he didn't have to deal with all this, whereas she did. But you don't really see much of her dealing with it, apart from you see her mum be very ill, and then her dad just goes, oh yeah, you have to leave now, so bye. And I'm just like, I know you want me to care, but I don't. Sorry. So yeah, overall, guys, again, I told you this wasn't going to be very long. This film is just meh. It really is. I'm so disappointed. I didn't go into it wanting to hate this film. I really wanted this to be like, yes. And I'm someone who is championing James Gunn's DCU. I want this to succeed. But looking at the box office numbers for this movie, it looks like it's going to absolutely tank. And that makes me so sad, because I want this universe to keep going. I want to see more. I mean, Clayface that's coming out this year, I want to go and see that, because that looks good. But if all you're going to do is just churn out these half-assed projects, then you're not going to get anywhere with fans. Right. A rating. Do you know what? This is why you should sit on a film. I watched it yesterday. I've sat on it, and I've actually gone down a bit. So I'll give it 2 ratings. If you are someone who is a die-hard DCU fan and desperately wants to see where this universe goes on, by all means, wait for it to come on streaming. Don't bother going to the cinema to go and see it. Don't go to the cinema to go and see it. Go and see it if you must. Please do. I want this universe to carry on. But me personally, I'm going to say that this was a time waster movie. This movie was 2 hours wasted. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. I went into it with fairly high expectations, because I'm like, no, come on, this is James Gunn. He's pushing us in a new direction. Come on, let's really get behind this. But I can't. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, sorry. That was me. I felt like that was me kind of ranting rather than giving an actual proper review. So I do apologise. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening in. If you like what I've said, give us a like. And if you've got any films that you'd like us to review, please let us know in the comments. It could be any films. It doesn't have to be a new film. It could be a film that's very near and dear to your heart, or maybe a film that you actually want me to roast, or a film that you despise, that you want me to just absolutely tear apart. Do that. And if you want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. Thanks, guys.